I've spent a lot of time thinking about level 100, whether or not our world level would go up. Would we get a new Ascension passive? Or would talents even go beyond 10? And if so, would they cost a crown for every level beyond that, or would 10 merely be a breakpoint that a crown is needed to get past for the other levels? Which would massively increase the value of crowns, by the way. They would no longer be just this thing to show your love for a character. They now represent 3 talent levels worth of power. Yet surprisingly, one of the things that I never really stopped to think about was, how much would level 100 cost? To many players out there, the cost of raising a character, its talents, and a weapon are already considered to be very high. Yet when you participate in every single event, battle pass, and even do some extra farming on the side, you kinda start to overflow with a lot of these resources, especially things like Mora and Enhancement Ore, unless you're trying to do something special like build every character and max out their talents like 999, or even get as many as you can crowned. That kind of stuff can really drain your resources. So what I did is I made a spreadsheet, and what the spreadsheet is aiming to do is to try to predict the cost of level 100 and everything else associated with it. Problem is yeah, sure, I can see the percent increases, but there's not really much of a pattern to a lot of the bigger costs, as I'm going to show you. So let's just start with the character ascension as an example. In this column, you can see that this is the percentage increase over the previous level. There is a huge jump for one of the initial levels, then it goes down to a lower increase, and then it goes back up to over 100%. This isn't really much of a pattern, and I can only assume that level 100 is probably going to cost roughly the same percentage of increase that level 80 to 90 did. Now, some smaller costs, like the actual cost of ascending your character, that is much lower and actually follows a predictable pattern, and even then, it's such a small cost that who even cares? Now, the thing is, you would expect presumably the last level that we ever get, which should be level 100, because ending on like 110 or something is even more awkward than being a 90 now, should be a prestigious level, and that should come with a pretty hefty cost. But as you can see later on when I show you all the end values compared to what it exists like now, it's going to be expensive. Very, very expensive. So if they were going to go beyond the current increases that we already have, things would become insane. Getting a truly maxed out character would be a very expensive endeavor, so much so that even someone who hoards a lot of resources like me, I would run out after a handful of characters or less. And mind you, that's for someone like me who's very, very frugal about what talents they level. I don't level up an auto attack needlessly, and I don't crown a skill if it's just not that important to a character skill. Sometimes I'll leave it as low as like 6 to 8. So we're going to cover the character ascension first. As with the other levels, the ascension cost itself is cheap, but actually going from 90 to 100 using the same percent increase as 80 to 90 would cost 1.45 million Mora, on top of the expected 365 purple books. And both of these costs end up just being a little bit shy of being half of what it costs to level from 1 to 90, which normally costs 421 purple character EXP books and just over 2 million Mora. Now, as for things like the monster and boss materials, what I showed in the thumbnail are actually my real guesses based on the amounts it takes now. Again, those don't have any crazy numbers you need to predict. They go up in relatively small chunks that gradually increases over time. Now, talents on the other hand, these are a mess. As you can see by the percentage increases, they're all over the place. So when you look at the actual Mora values, it looks to make a little bit more sense, and that is why I decided to just make a guess at what they would cost. Now, it would be great if the final talent that we ever got cost exactly 1 million Mora, but then that would mean that the percent increases from 90 to 100 would be really small compared to the rest of the ones that came before it, which that doesn't seem to make much sense. Unless they want to make both them cost 1 million, that would also be pretty clean looking. So currently, with 1 to 90, if you want to crown a single talent, it takes a total of 1.65 million Mora, rounded, and 38 purple, 21 blue, and 3 green books, and of course, a crown. Now, assuming it's not going to cost a crown to get levels 11 and 12, because that would be downright evil, it would cost my rough estimate of 2.25 million Mora, 20 purple books for level 11, and 24 purple books for level 12. These increases would bring the total cost of just a single talent to max level to 3.9 million Mora and 82 purple books, not counting the blues and the greens. And to put that one into perspective, currently it costs just under 5 million Mora, 114 purple books, 63 blues, and 9 greens to triple crown an entire character. The new triple crown cost would be 11.7 million Mora, that's a lot, and a staggering 246 purple talent books, 63 blue, and 9 green. That's a depressing amount of resin to spend. And honestly, that is probably our best case scenario. The talent books only jumping up by 4? I mean, we could hope that they just stay the same. That's kind of boring and doesn't really doesn't seem like we're getting much extra, but who knows? Maybe again, world level could increase, rewards could increase. Maybe it's just going to be as easy as getting 90 or 80 to 90 is now. We can only hope. Then of course, there's the non-resin based materials. And if you would like to ponder on the hell and suffering of farming even more specters and handguards, the current chart on the screen shows increases of 2, then 3, then 3 for the blue materials. So I would really just expect those to go up to 4 or maybe hang around at 3. Hopefully boss materials stay at 2, because needing any more than that would be hell. Honestly, even needing 4 more boss drops per talent, that's a lot. Then lastly, there's weapons. Roughly the same percent increase as characters for both 4 and 5-star weapons. For 5-star weapons, it's just under 800k more to get to level 100 and 786 enhancement ore. For 4 stars, it's 525k mora and 526 mystic enhancement ore. Also, it's been like 4 years, and I am just now realizing that the amount of mora it takes to spend is in direct relation to how many enhancement ore it takes. For every mystic enhancement ore, it costs basically 1000 mora. It's kind of neat, and I'm surprised I never noticed that. In any case, this brings the grand total for a level 100 triple 12 talent character with a level 100 5-star weapon to 17.4 million mora rounded up, 786 purple character EXP tomes, 246 purple talent books, 63 blue, 9 green, and 1696 mystic enhancement ore. Which that total is absolutely insane with the current reward structure of the game. Just the mora alone, that is like 6 whole paid battle passes worth of mora and a little under 5 paid battle passes for all the other resources. When you look at it in that lens, it's almost more believable that going from 90 to 100 would actually cost less than the increases that came before it would suggest. But honestly, does that make any sense? Why would the most prestigious level in the game that is going to unlock 2 more talent levels and give us a ton more power be very cheap to get? Especially if they don't plan on increasing the difficulty of the game or anything to accommodate for it, because I still genuinely believe level 100 is coming. With the fact that the game itself acknowledges that they go to level 15 and it's not just data mined info, seems to make sense that they always plan for this, and maybe that time is finally coming around the corner. I mean, Genshin is technically approaching its end. And also, crowns. Crowns are such an interesting conversation here, because for the longest time, people were just throwing crowns at whatever they felt like. If they loved a character a lot, they would crown their auto attack even if they don't use it. But if this change goes through, crowns are going to be the gatekeeper of a potential 3 levels, because I think there's no chance in hell that crowns are going to be used for levels 11 and 12. That just makes no damn sense. Crowns aren't given out enough for that. And I can't help but feel that there are going to be a lot of people who spent their crowns very frivolously that might grow to regret that decision, especially if they also care about power, because beforehand, it just wasn't that big of a deal if you spend crowns on some frivolous things. I mean, we got at least one every patch from the major event, and sometimes we would get some from the permanent content as well. But oh well, I'm sure those people are probably fine with that choice. I don't think they really care. They love those characters and they want them to be triple crowned. I don't think they'll regret that, because then they're going to want them to be 12, 12, 12. In any case, that is all I got for you today. Yes, I've been gone for a while. I was moving. Now I've moved. I'm in a new place, and hopefully I can get back to making more regular stuff again, as well as maybe some new things like streaming. I don't know yet. But in any case, thank you for watching. Thank you to my members and patrons for supporting me as always, and I'll see you in the next one.
Attaboy!